Three, two, one here. Hi, John and Amy. Thanks for joining me to introduce the Mindset software product introduction, both the solutions themselves as well as the partner program. Joining me today are John Bray, who runs our entire software solutions line, and Amy, who is our director of marketing. John, why don't we jump to the first slide and we'll do a quick overview on the agenda. So today, by way of introduction, we're going to talk a little bit about mindset and then jump right into the three marquee software products that we are delivering today to clients. And we hope that they're going to be of interest to you, especially those of you who are focused on supply chain, EWM, WM, TM spaces for your SAP clients. Then finally, I'll touch base on a couple of points on the partnership model. Mindset itself is a Minneapolis-based SAP partner, really renowned nationally for its UX-driven, human-centered design solutions. We've built hundreds and hundreds of Fiori solutions, and we also do end-to-end work across the S4 space, as well as EWM, TM, and some other places. As you can see from our offerings, we're involved with our clients every step of the way, from strategy through design, which is critical for us. I don't think we've built an application for a client without design thinking in 4 years. And then we go through implementation, of course, and we manage on the back end. But today, we're talking about that far right edge, end-to-end practices, under which is the software products, specifically the Fiori App Analyzer, SafeTransport, and WarehouseWise. We have others, but those are the three we're going to be coaching you on today. And if you have any questions on our offerings after the call or during this meeting, please use the Q&A button or chat. We'll record those and then we'll answer those at the end or follow up. Thanks, John. Do you want to go through the solutions?
Absolutely. Yeah, thanks, Peter, for the introduction, and thanks for introducing the topic today. So I'm very quickly, we have 30 minutes here to talk about these three products and get into some live demos with you all as well. So the three products here that you see left to right are, the first one we'll be talking about is our Fiori App Analyzer suite. This is a suite of 3 different applications that we'll be going through. In the middle is our SafeTransport applications, which are check-in and check-out processes, very easily to see, very easy to use, drives efficiency and a lot of safety within the transportation space at warehouses for clerks checking people in and out. So we'll go through that live as well. And last but definitely not least, a huge pain point that we've seen with our customers in the past years is what we're introducing with WarehouseWise. And within WarehouseWise, this is a large software suite that really focuses on real-time KPIs and analytics to help those warehouse managers, and even up into the regional and global warehouse level to see how people can take proactive action right there in the warehouse. So yeah, without further ado, we're going to jump right in. So Fiori App Analyzer suite. The big thing around this product suite is we wanted to give something to our customers that we delivered a lot of custom Fiori solutions to, and even deployed a lot of custom or standard SAP applications to. And this was to really showcase how many people are adopting Fiori, how many people are logged in, what kind of browsers do they use? What devices are they coming in on? What's the performance of my system? All of these things are wrapped up in a very visual-based dashboard that we can see quickly out of the box. 2 other applications here that we'll go through quick. And actually, as you can see, some of the benefits over here on the left-hand side in a quick screenshot here, what we're going to do is just go out of the presentation and jump right into our S4 system. So very quick demo on the Fiori App Analyzer suite. You'll see I'm logged into our S4 system as a warehouse user. So I'm in an EWM warehouse user that also has the ability to see the Mindset Fiori App Analyzer catalogs. So the first thing I will show you is something we're calling VOE, or Voice of the Employee. So me as a EWM user can automatically come into my Fiori Launchpad. I can go to any of the applications I use every day, and I can actually rate and rank how I feel about the applications I use every day. That's probably the biggest value prop for the Fiori App Analyzer that we use it for is, hey, I am, this is a standard SAP app. I only see a couple fields. It's not very visual. Maybe I feel okay about it. This is a rating scale of 1 through 5, meaning 1, I've never been more unhappy with an SAP screen, or 5, I'm just ecstatic about my experience and what you've been able to deliver to me as an end user. So I can leave it at that. I'm kind of so-so. It gets me through my day, but I don't love it by any means. So I can also, if I want to, I can enter comments as a user. Um, let's see. We'll put in today, does the job. So as soon as I submit that, I'm actually submitting that back to our Fiori App Analyzer suite. And when I come back to the dashboard here, I'll first go into our App Analyzer. And this is launching, this is built with Fiori Elements, and it's launching this dashboard screen so I can showcase exactly who I am and who's in our Fiori applications right now. So our S4 system just has me in it right now, looks like the EWM user. I can look at some details behind this person. So this is the username I'm in as, here's when I logged in, the browser I'm using, and the device type. This information is the same across active users, browser types, and device types, just organized a bit differently based on what I've clicked on. So just some quick contextual information there. There was a couple of cards that we got feedback from for our customers that were really important to them, and they were the average loading time and our most recent errors. So the average loading time is taking all of the system performance of all of the users in your SAP Fiori Launchpad, and it's averaging out the time it takes to load a full application. And what I mean by full application is that I have come into the Launchpad, clicked on a tile, and it's launched fully. Most recent errors, these are the gateway error logs, if you're familiar with Fiori itself. But going through this, let's look at some of the app views. I can click into our, let's see, pick by cart is where we were. I can click directly into this and I can see details of who has opened pick by cart, when they did it, and what user who launched that. I can also add anything that I want. I think the most important here for me is this load time. And of course I can add operating systems or anything else. But we're doing this all in smart tables. So you can see, back here, last year we were looking at 7 seconds to launch this, and now we've gotten a ton better. So this year it's only 1 second to launch this full application for them. So you can track over time how people are actually using your Fiori apps. Last but not least, within the tool set here, before we jump into SafeTransport, is I wanted to show our VOE detail. So there's 2 ways to get here, either from the dashboard by clicking on the little binoculars, or by coming straight to our voice and the employee detail tile. And what this gives us is we can see all the ratings and rankings that people have given. Remember in how we've rated and ranked the Pick by Cart app, we see within the list, just visually, we can see, hey, wow, our worst problem may be this warehouse management monitor out here. People are giving this a pretty bad rating. So we can drill into that. We can click on that, and it filters down to only the feedback and the comments on that specific app. So you can see our warehouse monitor here, rating of 1. A couple different entries here for us. This is just not usable at all. So it might be worth, we know this username, we can find this user and email address within SAP and just reach out to them and say, hey, I see your ratings and rankings that you gave us. Let's talk more. Maybe it's someone to invite a design session to really look at that. The last one here we thought was really interesting is see people's average ratings by applications. So I can see, my username here is jbragg, and I can see I'm usually pretty positive on the SAP side of UI and UX things, but maybe down here when we see the EWM user, or there's a sales and distribution user, it might be worth reaching out to a lot of these people to see if they have some real end user feedback for the apps that they use. So all just a great tool set to be able to start to analyze and dig into where UX matters the most for people's SAP implementations within the Fiori space. So that's the first set of apps that we'll go through today, and
Hey, John,
I'll jump back. Yeah.
while you're getting ready for the next one, there was two chat questions. One was pricing. We will have a pricing slide at the very end, but spoiler alert, Fiori App Analyzer is licensed at no charge. There's typically a setup fee, or our partners can create a service around it, but basically that's at no charge. We'll talk more about that. And the second question, John, actually refers to something you said. You said that Fiori App Analyzer, you're showing it off of an S4 system that we're running. The question is it ECC compatible?
Yes, good question. So it is definitely ECC compatible as well. What we do is we have manual transport imports for ECC environments, and that works either within a embedded and or hub gateway architecture for people that are still using ECC and a Fiori Launchpad separately there. So good question. All right, I think with that, we'll jump straight into the second software product that we have out there. So I will go ahead and back and present the screen here quick and introduce to you guys SafeTransport. So SafeTransport came out of a need last year. This was a very COVID-friendly application that we were seeing with a lot of our customers and clients that use large transportation fleets. And really what we're looking at here is a ton of the people that were checking in drivers in and out of warehouse locations were 100% paper-based. And what we wanted to do based on COVID restrictions, based on the efficiency, based on we heard lots of these transportation drivers were working 300% capacity, for a lot of people shipping goods during these times. And the biggest problem, the biggest use case was, how do I get people in and out faster, right? Drivers get paid by the mile a lot of times, so they want to be on the road. The faster I can get people in and out of my plant or my warehouse, the the better the driver gets paid, the happier they are, and the happier the clerk is to be able to process those things quickly. So this is a SaaS solution, so hosted by Mindset, hosted on the SAP BTP platform. There's a lot of different options of deployment models that are there. So we can, if there's any questions around architectures and things like that, we can take that separately, just based on how you see this fitting. And the really interesting part of this is not 100% dependent on having an SAP backend system. We can use this in the cloud on its own to just check people in and out. Now, if we're wanting to integrate bill of lading documents, delivery documents, a lot of the goods that people are coming in to pick up or drop off, that obviously needs some API connections into a backend system. But again, by using the SAP BTP platform, we can be a little bit agnostic about what you're actually using for TM and WM, and between ECC and S4, or even other software products. So that's some good news about this piece of software. It's very open, very flexible. So we're kind of giving a blank slate. And as we go through this, and let me log back in here. So we'll just refresh this is a SAP BTP Cloud Fiori Launchpad. So we're showing both today, our S4 Launchpad as well as our BTP Launchpad. Again, they look the same, which is great from a user experience standpoint. But what we're going to check out here is just the SafeTransport apps. So two applications. We have one on the driver side. So this is very mobile friendly, mobile based. You'll see it in a little bit larger screen here in the desktop as I showcase it. But obviously as I come down, everything is responsive in Fiori. We're using all those design guidelines to do all of these applications. So just keep that in mind as we go on as well. So I can come in here and, welcome to Mindset. We'll pretend we're a transportation company today. I can just start the check-in process. So there's very few fields that I need to fill out here. I need possibly my CDL information. I need my name, the carrier that I'm with, the tractor trailer, delivery orders, if there are any, BOL numbers. All of these fields can be customized exactly to what your company actually needs to see for check-in. So I can go ahead and click that easily. This is usually for the driver to fill out. We thought about some extended functionality to be able to scan a driver's license. We at this point don't want to save any of that information, just due to privacy concerns and things like that. So easy check-in, check-out. Try not to save too much data or any personal data, obviously. So if I go back from this is the very quick and easy driver piece of this application. And then I can come over to the clerk application side of things where I can come in and see, hey, here's all the people that are either in the warehouse lot right now. So they're in the yard, they're being loaded or they're dropping off. And here's all the people that have been through today. So we want to keep this work list to today, and it's always sorted by who just checked in or who is awaiting check-in. And so if I come in here and say, let's look at Matthew from what he's doing, we see Matthew's high level information, and we see what he's here to pick up, and we can very quickly as a clerk say, okay, I can update this person and I can see that they're checked in. And again, for the SaaS product here, the fields are fully driven by customer requirements. So we're showcasing some sample data here and what you can do. Um, a lot of transportation check-ins, checkouts are very specific to the company. So whether you need things like tear weights, whether you need the seal numbers, whether you want to see more information about this specific driver, how long they've been waiting, things like that can all be added very, very easily just because this is, again, a SaaS-based product. So it's kind of an open template for people to be able to choose and use and customize. We found it's been really good for a lot of folks that had the paper-based process before and we're trying to do reporting. We're trying to see who's on the lot right now, just from a safety perspective. If there's an emergency that happens somewhere within the shipping area, we want to make sure that we can contact everyone we know that's on site at this point in time. And so that was another big driver of providing the work list and then a full report of exactly who's there at this time. So I'll stop the live demo of SafeTransport there and jump back to the slides. But yeah, I didn't know if Peter, you saw any other questions come in on SafeTransport while we were chatting.
Not on SafeTransport yet, no, John. And just a reminder, feel free to use the chat box with your questions. Thanks, John.
Perfect. I'll go back to presentation mode on the slides, and we are going to jump into our last but not least software product. So WarehouseWise, this is a really fun one for us, and this is a lot of our focus is going to this in development right now, and we're doing this because we've seen over and over again this use case. You may have heard or joined a webinar that we did this week with Stephanie Weiss, and her presentation was around how to implement EWM in the top 10 tips of being successful in doing so. And WarehouseWise is actually a part of that area as well. The pain point that we're really going after here is warehouse managers. So warehouse managers that live in the warehouse day in and day out, trying to make sure that we look at all of the KPIs and all of the performance metrics that our warehouse is operating in right now. And so what we wanted to do for folks is provide an entire software suite that looks at the different parts of the warehouse and how to look in real time against those things. And so we're showing, the screenshot here is of our shipping dashboard. We'll get to the live demo where we can show three separate applications here, but our roadmap for this product. So release 1 will focus on the 3 apps I'm going to show you today. Release 2 is going to at least double that with 3 other applications that get into more of kitting monitors and other warehouse operations dashboards and things like that. So again, following SAP design guidelines, using a lot of the embedded analytics functionalities, we are building this out internally on our S4 1909 system that has embedded EWM. However, we also are planning to support anyone that is still on distributed SAP EWM and or possibly WM, just based on how we're building out some of our administration tables and configuration tables for when a customer does want to purchase the product. So again, want to be very flexible to how people are running today and then be able to support them into the future within S4. So I'm going to jump over to the live demo on this one, and then we can take it from there. So again, we're hosting this internally within our SAP BTP platform, and we'll jump into the shipping dashboard first because that's what the screenshot that you saw, and I'll just talk through. A lot of these are live statistics coming straight out of EWM and S4. And when you open this, you have a lot of cards on the screen that show you different KPIs. These are industry standard KPIs that we've seen people ask for again and again in our engagements. And the cool thing about how this is laid out is it's 100% visual, right? We don't want to waste anybody's time trying to go through lines and lines and lines of warehouse tasks, right, to get to an answer. The biggest pain point we've heard from folks is that we have 4 to 5 hours of manual manipulation every night just to see exactly what happened in the warehouse this past day. We want to get to a point where warehouse managers are proactive. They may be walking around the floor. They can pull this up on a tablet. Maybe it's up on a monitor while they're walking around the outbound shipping area. And they can easily see, hey, great, we're doing okay. Or, hey, maybe we need to get more people over into the outbound area so we can finish these deliveries on time. This screen can be laid out exactly like anybody wants. So again, Fiori Elements allows that really custom look and feel to where people want to focus. If there's cards that are less important or more important to you, we can drag and drop and really look at what's out there. Another cool thing that's coming, and what we have for some of our pick rates already, is I can click within these dashboards to go ahead and drill into. So for example, here, I can go straight from our overall pick rate to see exactly what our employee performance is. So that's actually the second application you saw within the Launchpad there was employee performance, where we're really trying to measure how many lines per hour people are pulling and how many lines per error people are pulling. So before we can do lines per error, we need some more customizations. EWM doesn't offer that out of the box, but it's something I think is really important when we look at employee performance and we start to put in things like pay for performance metrics for folks. So if we can make some plans around people's training, maybe we want to look into Paul specifically, we are going to have drill downs into each individual employee that we can actually search in or actually look at. Also, a lot of warehouses are set up with different zones. So you will have different targets for your different zones based on what you have to use to actually get to those things within the warehouse. For example, a high rack might need either ladders or forklifts or different things where you might not be able to be as fast as just a regular forward pick zone. That's really easy to get to for a lot of those high impact items you want to get out the door really quickly. Last but not least, within the WarehouseWise release 1 here is the route monitor. And this is something we've gotten some great feedback from a couple of customers that have already gone live. And this is really the warehouse monitor rolled up into only what's missing. So I don't have to look through thousands of HUs or warehouse tasks. I can come into this route monitor, and depending on how your warehouse is set up, we're looking at routes at the very top level, and we can go ahead and go through whether there's TUs, whether there's HUs that you deal with. Those things can be customized within the configuration. But we're really looking at, hey, what's missing, and how can I go get it in the warehouse so I can come back? So I wanted to pause there within the WarehouseWise product and just jump back into the deck because we wanted to do some quick live demos of the software and then also get into the full partner agreements and showcase how we're willing to let that work out.
Yeah, thanks, John. So there was a question on SafeTransport. Does it work offline? There's no more context in that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, good question there. So at the moment, it is required that the cloud platform is online to just save that data back and forth. That's a really good point as far as a future next step for that product. So that definitely can be built in if it's one of the requirements there.
Okay. And do we have built offline apps though for Fiori, just not using cloud platform? Is that correct?
Yes, we have built offline apps. There was the service area is actually a really large proponent of this, and that has been used using the mobile services stuff within the cloud platform, or newly renamed to BTP. So yeah.
The last question I have here is WarehouseWise fully reactive?
Yes. So in 2 ways is it reactive, and the first one is that we're using all real-time data from EWM. So it's one of the reasons that we used embedded analytics within SAP versus pushing you out to an analytics platform. A lot of those data loads can be, not as real time then once you push that data there, unless you're planning on using some real time connections into it. But we thought the best case there was to really make it responsive and reactive to exactly what's going on in the warehouse right now.
Thanks, John.
So I think next in the slide, and Peter, I'll let you take over here, but really just to
Sure.
introduce our software reseller program.
Yeah, thank you, John. So our reseller program is really a referral program. We use Salesforce.com on the inside, along with some other CRM tools. So all of our leads are tagged very tightly to our partners. And then a lead is managed all the way through to disposition, whether it's closed won or closed loss, et cetera. So any leads that come in on our software products from our referral partners are tracked properly. We share up to 30% of the revenue, and we share it for multiple years. The actual rev share depends on the commitment from the partner, but in general, it starts in that 30% range, and it may decrease over time, or it may decrease if the commitment level is not as strong or evenly flowing over time. But that's it in a nutshell. If a client wants to resell Mindset software on their own paper, we can also accommodate that. We wouldn't be using our license agreement, obviously, or you would pass it through. But we can talk about that offline, and my contact information is at the bottom of the slide, so we can discuss that. And then in terms of pricing for the products, as on the next slide, as we mentioned, the Fiori app analyzer is provided at no charge, but we do see partners or even Mindset do some sort of a setup fee if it's necessary to help the client get it up and running. It does open an avenue for a lot of other requirements down the road, so it's a really nice partner tool. The WarehouseWise is based on users, and I just drove by I-4 in Orlando. I saw literally thousands of warehouse bays. There's a lot of users for WarehouseWise as well as for SafeTransport. So WarehouseWise, we do it on a user-based pricing, and you can see the pricing there. There is a setup configuration fee, and it's really dependent on what you're running and how are you running it. As John mentioned, some of our solutions work on basically anything, and we can tailor it to fit. So we'll just have to go through that one off together to figure out what the one-time setup fee is. And then again, our partners may want to also overlay some change management or advisory with it. And then finally, SafeTransport. Now that's usage-based. That's because as I'm pulling my rig into a location, I'm using the app, that's a use, and when I'm leaving, I'm using the app, that's a use, or if I'm a clerk checking it in, that's a use. So it's basically based on usage limits, and that's about 25,000 transactions a month. I don't think we've found a client yet that had needed more than that. Some came close, but not more than that. And again, you can see the pricing there is about 4K per month. So again, on our software offerings, we're looking at about a 30% rev share get kicked off. And if over time it decreases, but that's a good starting point for this conversation. I'm happy to talk about this at detail. John, there's no other questions in the chat. Did you have a wrap up for today?
Yeah, I'd just like to thank everyone for joining today. It's a quick, brief overview, and what we want to do is meet with people individually to talk through more of the software products in detail. As you can see, kind of the introductory pricing there that Peter went through. And again, from myself and Peter, our contact information is down here at the bottom of this slide. We'd be happy to talk through any questions or any detailed conversations about any of the software that you've seen today.
Thank you. Thanks, John. Appreciate it.
Perfect. Thanks all.
Bye-bye.